organizing or participating in any state congresses organized by committees appointed by the Senator David Mark-led caretaker leadership of the African Democratic Congress ADC. Senior reporter Celestina Area has more.
In a split decision of 2-1, a three-member panel of the Court of Appeal, in a lead judgment delivered by Justice Okun Abang, held that there was no basis to overturn the restraining order issued by the Federal High Court on April 29th. The Appellate Court also upheld the decision of Justice Joyce Abdulmalik, which barred the David Mark-led caretaker leadership from interfering with the tenure and functions of the party's elected State Executive Committee. The court agreed that responsibility for conducting state congresses lies with duly elected state executive committees and not the party's national caretaker leadership. Justice Okun Abang and Donato Tokorowo formed the majority, affirming the order restraining INEC from recognizing the outcome of any state congresses conducted by the David Mark-led caretaker committee. However, presiding Justice Abba Mohammed dissented, holding that the dispute was an internal party affair beyond the jurisdiction of the court. He ruled that the Federal High Court ought not to have entertained the suit. Celestina Area, TVC News, Abuja.
Lawyer Dr. Hassan joins me on the news at 10 for more on this development. Mr. Hassan, thanks for joining us tonight. Political parties, often set up caretaker committees during crises of this nature. If the court says the David Mark-led committee cannot conduct state congresses, how then was he expected to reorganize the party? Doesn't this judgment risk making it practically impossible for a caretaker committee to carry out the very mandate for which it was constituted?
Well, it is highly regrettable that David Mark and all other leaders of the ADC from Atiku Abubakar, none of them could foresee this danger that is already imminent, and it is a foreseeable risk. For avoidance of doubt, every reasonable man will affirm that what David Mark-led executive did is obnoxious and it is unconstitutional against the ethos and the rules of the ADC. So what the court just did is the affirmation of what is right. And that is beyond the domestic affairs of the party, because what we are talking about rests solely on the party rules and laws of the ADC. And nobody, even David Mark and Electoral, it is quite unfortunate that Atiku Abubakar may have to kiss his presidential ambition goodbye, because at this very point in time, he has no any other option than to just give it a goodbye, because no amount of Supreme Court can upturn what is right. And it's like they already know it from ab initio, but they intentionally grandstanding and waited for this Waterloo to befall them.
But
intentionally.
Are you considering that this was a split decision, 2-1? Doesn't the dissenting judgment suggest perhaps there's a genuine legal uncertainty here?
The dissenting judgment is empirical opinion of every right-thinking person. Knows that that is not a domestic affairs and internal affairs of the party that the court should not go into. What we are talking about rests solely on party state executives that are duly elected with a term of tenure. How could somebody come in with this political rascality ideology that can just get into any political party and remove elected officials of the party? That is obnoxious. So I want to advise Mr. Atiku Abubakar, they should not keep hustling around saying that, oh, this is an APC intrusion into their party. No, this is just a very, very, I'll call it an intentional mistake, because you cannot, with somebody of Atiku's stake, what he could have done is to have owned up his own political party. But at this critical point in time, INEC cannot honor any correspondence, not just any nomination. Any correspondence from David Mark-led will still be an albatross against them, because they already know that what they were putting their hands on was a political party.
I hear you, Mr. Hassan. Just for clarity,
on their ego.
Just for clarity,
that could have stood them through.
The court has restrained INEC from recognizing these congresses, but has it actually invalidated the David Mark-led caretaker committee itself? I mean, what can the caretaker committee still lawfully do?
You cannot be a eagle that cannot pick a chicken. That is just a toothless bulldog. That is what the interpretation of what the court have just told David Mark, that they are now a toothless bulldog, whatever it is, because what rests on their capacity is the capacity to act conclusively to ensure that the party rules and regulations are maintained. They themselves are the biggest problem of the ADC, and they did not hinge on the rules of the party they came into. You came into somebody's house, overtake the place as a landlord, and you're just telling all of them to sweep up themselves up. That is the height of political responsibility. And nobody, if that is the kind of political party, if they cannot run a political party legally, how best are they now going to run a country like Nigeria if they are being given? Meaning, they're just going to throw off the constitution of the country and act arbitrarily.
All right.
This is a height of political responsibility, and I want to advise the best option for Atiku at this period, either he likes it or not, is to look up to the maybe other future election and support any political party of his choice, which I still believe it could have been best for him to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ahead of the 2027 election.
Lawyer Dr. Hassan, that's our time. Thank you for your thoughts on this story.
Thank you. Thank you.